this is Mrs. Morita. Welcome to section 2.3, standard form. So we're going to be on page 40 of your student companion book, and we're starting a new section on understanding standard form. So this is our third form of linear equations. Let's review. The two forms of equations we've seen so far are slope-intercept and point-slope. The slope-intercept was our y equals mx plus b form, and point-slope is the y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. Our third and final equation of a line is our standard form. This is written as ax plus by is equal to c. This is where a, b, and c are integers, and x and y are our variables. Each of these three forms have their own advantages. For the slope-intercept form, this is always great when you have, you guessed it, the slope and the y-intercept. Your point-slope form, this is very useful when you have 2 points. Remember, we could find the slope that way. Or if you have a point and a slope. What's nice with point-slope is that point, we'll say a point and a slope, is that point doesn't have to be any special intercept. It could be any point on the line. Now your standard form, where this is going to come in handy, is helping us with our x-intercepts, haven't used that in a while, and the y-intercept. That's how we're going to utilize this form when we try to graph an example 2. Let's give it a try. In example 2, we are asked to sketch the graph of a linear equation in standard form, and they give us the equation right here, 4x plus 5y is equal to 10. So just a quick review about these intercepts. Ooh, I could do better than that. A little better. So if we have our x and y axes, so that's my y, that's my x, and then I just have any line graphed. Here we go. Wherever your line crosses your x-axis, this is going to be my x-intercept. And this point will always be some number, comma, 0. Because we're on our x-axis, I'm not going to go up or down, so my y-coordinate will be 0. And then on the y-axis, wherever your line crosses your y-axis, this will be your y-intercept. And we can say that we always know the x value is 0. We don't go left or right at all. And then it'll be some value for how high up or down you go for the y-intercept. So when we look at our equation here, we want to use our equation 4x plus 5y equals 10 to find these intercepts. So first we're going to find our x-intercept. So I'm going to leave some space. I'm going to find my x-intercept, and then next I will find my y-intercept. And what we saw over here to the left is my x-intercept is always going to have this y value of 0, always. So if I wanted to use the equation given, 4x plus 5y is equal to 10, and find what my x-intercept is, I can substitute 0 in for y. So I get 4x plus 5 times 0, which is just 0. You might just plug that in. And we end up with 4x is equal to 10, and then now we're just using those solving strategies we learned last chapter. And so we get x is equal to 10 over and 1/2. I'm going to rewrite this as a mixed number. That's going to help with the graphing. And so my x-intercept, now I know this is going to be 2 and 1/2, or you could say 2.5, comma, 0. That's going to be my x-intercept. Now we're going to do the same thing, but find the y-intercept. So I'm going to start with the same equation, but instead for the y-intercept, now I have an x that's 0. So I'm going to plug in 0 for x. So 4 times 0 plus 5y is equal to 10. So 5y is equal to 10, divide by 5. And sometimes you can just do some of these in your head. The zeros work pretty nice. We end up with y equals 2. And so for my y-intercept, my point will be 0, comma 2. So now that I have these 2 points, that's what I'm going to use to graph my line. So I'm going to go over 1, 2, and a little more, and that'll be my x-intercept, and then my y-intercept 0 up 2. Now that I have 2 points, I can connect them, and there's my graph. Moving on to example 3, we want to relate standard form to horizontal and vertical lines. Let's make some notes in the margin. So add these notes to your margin. Your vertical lines, vertical, think up and down, your vertical lines are only going to have an x-intercept. And so when we think about this in standard form, your ax plus by is equal to c. Well, your y, there is no y-intercept. So this will just be 0. So we end up with this ax equal to c, or anytime we can divide by a, you would just get x equals a number. So anytime you have x equals a number, that number is your x-intercept. And this is an equation of a line too. X equals a number is an equation of a vertical line. Similarly, for a horizontal line, we'll have y equals some number. So if you ever get an equation that's just y equals a number, that's going to be your horizontal line. Y equals a number, that number is your y-intercept. So these two special types of lines are ones that some students get hung up on, and so we're going to do an example with that in example 3. So in example 3, part A, we have the equation 3y is equal to negative 18. So we're going to solve for y and divide both sides by 3, and we end up getting y is equal to negative 6. Because this is a y equals, we know that this line is going to go left and right. It's going to have an intercept on the y-axis, so a y-intercept at negative 6. So on my graph above, I'm going to go down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's going to be where my intercept is, but then to graph this line, we're just going to have a horizontal line at negative 6. So you can notice any point, if you picked any point on this line, all of these points you can go over 1 and down 6, negative 6. Over 2, down 6, negative 6. So anytime we have this y equals a number, you'll have a horizontal line at that number. Let's try part B. So for part B, we have 4x is equal to 12. So again, we'll isolate our variable x, and we end up, let's see, the 4's cancel, we get x is equal to 3. So in this example, when we just have x equal to a number, that tells us this line is going to be vertical, and the line's going to go through positive 3 on the x-axis. So 1, 2, 3, that's where my x-intercept is, and then my line, is going to be a well, do the best you can. Come on, Miss Maria, you can do better than that. Whoa, that was actually pretty good. So we've got this vertical line going through your x value of 3. That's it for section 2.3. Make sure you copy down all your notes and bring your questions to class.